Hey team, welcome to another Film Friend Fridays. Today we have on Taylor Davis, Taylor Aaron Davis on Instagram, and he is one half of aboxofgrain who we interviewed last week. I'm super excited to be sharing this personal interview with him where we talk about his own film photography, his journey, his cameras, where he's at, and it's awesome. We're gonna get into it right now. Let's do it. Hello, how's it going, man?
It's going great, dude. It's great to be on with you.
It's great to be on with you. Thanks for joining me last week on the full aboxofgrain episode.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad we got to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Good little call we had.
Yeah, it was really cool getting to know about aboxofgrain and what you guys have envisioned for that. I'm definitely super excited to see where it goes. And you guys are only doing it for a few weeks now, and it's already killing it. So it's awesome.
Yeah. I will say it's mostly Connor doing it, but I try.
Yeah.
We started it, and then literally a weekend, we were both like, oh, we're about to go do over a week-long road trip, so we won't be able to get on the account very much. And then I got back, and literally a week later, all this fire stuff happened. I was just like, I'm sorry. I'll try, but no guarantees.
Gosh, that's absolutely crazy. Yeah. And for those just tuning in, when we're recording these, there's crazy fires in the West Coast, and it's absolutely, and it's crazy, insane. Tell me about you, what your vision is for your photography, and a little bit about backstory, what you do, and all things Taylor.
Word. My name is Taylor Davis. My Instagram's at tayloraarondavis. I'm 25. I live out in Portland, Oregon right now. Shoot primarily film, but have been shooting a lot more digital recently. I'm a assistant winemaker for a small natural winery out here called Fossil and Fawn. We just do wines that pretty much we pick our grapes and press them and then leave them to do their thing until we're ready to bottle them and stuff like that. And so, shoot a lot of mostly film in my free time. I've been shooting a little bit more digital. I picked up a Fuji X Pro 2 recently, and after a year hiatus from shooting digital, and a year before that, just not really wanted to touch it. Been shooting a lot more of that, but mostly it's film right now. Shooting a lot of medium format. Recently got into that, and I shoot. I would say a lot of it is just kind of walking around in Portland neighborhood stuff, architecture, cars, anything kind of peculiar, those moments that you just notice something because of pure happenstance, and that you happen to be there, that are just a kind of a weird moment, or something you wouldn't normally notice. That's one of my favorite things to shoot. And I shoot quite a bit of landscapes and street photography and stuff like that. But most of it is just kind of I want to go try and see people, catch people in their moments, or something weird that you see a door open and there's something happening inside or stuff like that. That's just kind of my I like peeking in on those moments and being able to capture a little glimpse of it and having fun with it.
I love that. That's an awesome way to be looking at your world.
It's a lot of fun, keeping your eyes open and noticing those things, walking. I do a lot of walking in neighborhoods, and have an ongoing project. It's called Sublime Suburbia, and it's just based on beauty and the very ordinary suburban kind of neighborhoods, when the light hits right, or somebody's just got an incredible tree in front of their house, or stuff like that, on a normal drive by, you'd be oh, it's just a neighborhood. And I like capturing those kind of this is a really cool corner here, or that kind of stuff.
You're doing the wine thing as your day job, but do you do any photography paid shoots or anything like that? Or has it always been a hobby for you?
Mostly hobby. I've done a few. I did for a little while shoot as a product photographer for weed companies in Portland, actually. And so I basically would go in with a light box and shoot very basic, like white background product photos of stuff like that. And there's zero artistic value in doing that. They're very like, we want these for, a lot of it was for like Leafly apps or like Weed Maps app, like put it up there. They just want to see what it is. It's not like creating content or anything like that. And I've shot like, I shot my brother's not his elopement, sorry, his engagement for him and his fiance. And I've done like little portrait sessions or stuff like that. But for the most part, it's just like hobby. I shoot for myself, and I have a little like, I got to be able to be creative with what I'm doing. I can't do the like straight up photography or product photography like this. There's zero, you gotta stay in this box. There's nothing else you can do with it.
Yeah. So what are you looking to get out of it? Is it that kind of like creative outlet for you?
Yeah, it's creative for me. And I definitely get a lot of like meditation time with it, where I can walk down go spend an hour and a half and be walking in a neighborhood with a camera. And I may have things on my mind, but the way that I work through things is just like, I'll just think about them and like look at all the angles and kind of the aspects of them. And that's where I kind of like develop my final view on like, okay, like, am I going to get past this, or do I need to keep working on it? So it's a lot of time that I just get to spend like enjoying something, making art, and then doing a little like soul healing as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so when we were talking about A Box of Grain, we were talking about the music aspect that you guys are pulling in. Are you putting in playlists while you're walking, or are you just serene and kind of going with yourself? Or
it's a mix of both. Kind of depends on like where I'm at. A lot of times when I'm in neighborhoods, I want to be aware just of what's going on, more for the aspect of like, okay, it gives me a better glimpse of what the mood is, what the vibe is, and like taking a moment to just to listen to what's going on. I listen to so much music in my car and when I'm at home and editing and stuff like that it's nice to like, I'll unplug. And then there's other times where it's like, I'll throw in headphones and like, I don't want to be bothered by people. I'm somebody that like, when I walk in neighborhoods, every single person I pass by, I say howdy to, and like try and ask about their day and like just connect with people. And like, cause that's the kind of person I am. And so like, occasionally I'll throw in a playlist and just like, okay, I'm going to listen to whatever artist and like see how it inspires how I'm going to shoot.
Yeah. What are you listening to right now? What's something on the top of your playlist?
So much. Mapache is a big one. Okay. They're like they're a duo that's like, they sound a lot like older, more folky Grateful Dead stuff before they kind of got more into psychedelic rock. Bin is another one that I've been big on. They're a lot of instrumental stuff, but they're newer music it's all like psychedelic rock kind of themed. I listen to a lot of like older, maybe not so much older, but older soul and R&B, like Curtis Mayfield and like newer R&B, like Anderson .Paak and like The Internet, stuff like that. So like my moods change quite a bit, like, yeah, I can, in a single day, I can listen to like 7 or 8 different genres, and it just is kind of like, oh, what am I feeling at this particular hour of day? So, and when I'm at home, and
what are you listening to right now? What's something on the top of your playlist?
They sound a lot like older, more folky Grateful Dead stuff before they kind of got more into psychedelic rock. Bin is another one that I've been big on. They're a lot of instrumental stuff, but they're newer music it's all like psychedelic rock kind of themed. I listen to a lot of like older, maybe not so much older, but older soul and R&B, like Curtis Mayfield and like newer R&B, like Anderson .Paak and like the internet stuff.
Yeah, that's totally how I feel. I definitely want to check those out and then keep dropping them in my playlist. Well, yeah. So you said you have the Fuji X Pro that you're walking around with, but what's your film camera of choice?
Well, I have a nice grip of film cameras right now. I just got this not so long ago, Pentax 6.7.
Nice.
This is actually the 6x7 for any of the nerds that like want to nerd out about which one it is. And I have the 105 f2.4 on there.
Yeah.
I picked this up probably like 3 weeks ago now. For somebody was just selling one for a screaming deal on Craigslist. And so I've like pretty much shot exclusively with this for that time. I think we were talking about when we were doing our aboxofgrain one, we were talking about how like we started the film page and then Connor and I like were both going on road trips. So I picked this up right before that. I also have a Mamiya RB67 that I enjoy shooting on. And I have a Pentax K1000 and a Nikon L35AF. So like a good grip of film cameras that I shoot with. But I probably the two that I shoot on most now is this Pentax and then the L35. I just like for 35 millimeter, after I started shooting medium format, 35 millimeter was like, it's going to be kind of the like I can run through a roll and it's relatively cheap for how many frames that I'm shooting. And so shooting point and shoot on it is so much fun. And like, trying to just like document more details of life. This I kind of like, I set more aside as like, I'm here to make really beautiful images. And the L35 is like, if I shoot 3 photos of my dog in a row and then, like we were camping. So it was like photos of the dog and like what we were cooking and like our tents and stuff like that. Like, I'm way more comfortable. Like, I think on that road trip I shot 10 rolls of 120, 3 of 220, and then like 4 rolls of 35 millimeter. And like the 4 rolls of 35 millimeter is pretty much the exact same number of photos as like all the medium format that I shot. So for me, I try to keep it as more like, I'm going to document life. Like, obviously you're not getting the same resolution and details out of your scans that you are with medium format. And so to me, it's a little bit more like, I can be more playful with it. I don't have to worry about like, I take a photo and it's like, oh, there's a $2 exposure or whatever it comes out to.
Out of like your film and digital, like what do you find like beneficial out of film versus digital? Like you're one of the few people I've talked to that are shooting both right now. Yeah.
So I kind of mentioned it. I had like I had a Sony A6000 for a few years. And before that I had some Nikon DSLR. And I just like, I got to a point with the Sony where I would shoot and I would walk around with it and just not even shoot a photo. And that's the kind of point where I was like, I should probably take a step back from this. Like, I'm just really not enjoying currently what I'm doing with it. I don't see the point in carrying around a camera if I'm not going to try and shoot photos with it. For me with film, which is the way that a lot of people feel about it, is it's a nice slowdown and you're really thinking about what's my composition going to be like? Am I looking at, if I'm going to shoot something, does it have good color? Does it have a good light? And I think light is the biggest thing to me that I've noticed going between the two. Because obviously with digital, you can manipulate so much that 80% or 90% of the stuff you shoot is probably salvageable. And like, I've learned through shooting a lot more film that, shooting stuff and being like, oh yeah, like I can recover this in post, and getting the scan back and being like, yeah, I shouldn't have wasted a frame because it was like I liked the composition, but the light was just garbage. Like I get more, way more into like looking at, is there good light here? Is it something that's really worth taking or should I just catalog it I actually have like a note going on my phone that's like compositions I want to shoot. And usually it's like the general address and like what was there, like a cool barn or a cool car or trees sitting in a cool way, or there's a photo I shot. I was on a walk with a friend with our dogs, and on somebody's sidewalk, there's like the house, the sidewalk, and then like a little green space, and then the road. Somebody had set up a park swing hanging from one of the trees. And so I shot it, and I really enjoy that photo, but it was just like a really peculiar thing to walk by, like a random park swing, like hanging off of a tree in somebody's neighborhood, just because they like decided they wanted to put it there.
Yeah. And I absolutely love that. Like that vision for like finding stuff is it's playful. I love it. It's what I want out of photography.
It's a lot of fun. And like, people get really polarized on if they only shoot film or only shoot digital. And like, I was pretty much like, I just won't shoot digital anymore. Like I enjoy shooting film so much more. And I picked up an X Pro 2 and just like fell headfirst back into love with shooting digital. And it's a lot of fun. Like there's on our trip, my buddy and I took a ferry from Bainbridge Island, which is like on the edge of Olympic National Forest or Olympic National Park, over to Seattle. And we were like, oh, we'll park the car in the bottom of the ferry, and we're just going to run around the ferry and shoot for the 45 minutes that the ferry was. And I probably shot like, I don't know, 50 or 60 photos, all digital, but it was like so much fun just to like run around and not have to worry about like, do I have to meter for this? Like, is everything going to look fine? And like, I've been posting a lot of probably like my last 3 or 4 things I've posted were just from that ferry shoot. And I love the colors. I love shooting on ferries. They're such a like interesting thing. Like people are doing really interesting things. It's very like street photography, not on the streets. And I just love like little details and like the color palette. And it was a really good time.
Dude, all of your stuff is so good. I
appreciate that. I try hard.
Well, you do a really good job. Let me pull up one here, and I think it was featured on A Box of Grain. And I'm absolutely obsessed with it. It's the one where it's the camper parked in the yellow house. Dude, that's such a sick shot.
Thank you.
Tell me about the whole story behind that one.
So that's actually one of my favorite images I've probably made in the last, probably ever, but like for sure in the last year. I live in a really small town outside of Portland called Estacada. It's about 3,000 people in like mostly rural kind of farm community. There's a small area that's would be considered kind of like suburban, like neighborhoods and stuff like that. And that's one of those comps that I saw it one day, and in my head I was like, I need to shoot that, but I gotta wait for the light to be right. I kind of had this vision in my head of like, this is how I want this photo to look. And I shot that one with the Mamiya RB67. I think that's on Portra 400.
Yeah, it is.
But I just like, I remember grabbing, the light was looking really nice one day. It was golden hour, but it was also a little bit cloudy out. So it was like really nicely diffused, but still that nice bright golden hour look. And I was going through my notes on my phone of like, what are the compositions near me that I could go shoot right now? And I probably shot like 2 rolls that evening or something like that. And it was right after, like I shot that right after I got the RB67. I got that probably like the 3rd week of July. I like drove by it and the light was just hitting just right. There's like the little cat that's sitting down there that like so many people messaged me like, oh my God, there's a little cat in there. And like, it was just one of those kind of like everything.
It's that perfect Winnebago, like it's got the it's got the just that creamy red. And then you've got that perfect Portra yellow Kodak yumminess on the house. It's so perfect.
It was like one of those kind of shots where like I shot it in my head. I was like, all right, I got it. And the neighbor of that house came out and she was like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm a photographer. Like I just really enjoyed like shooting this kind of stuff. And I had actually like turned my camera at her garage. She had like this stark white garage that I think it has green trim on it. I shot it, but I haven't posted it. And she was like, why would you want to take a picture of that? Like, I don't get it. And I was like, a lot of the stuff I shoot is like this kind of like suburban, like really cool scenes. And probably my favorite part of that photo is the shadow that goes around the garage where the RV is into, that like it really makes it disappear, but it's also very soft around it that like, I think I shot like 3 exposures of that one. I shot one in landscape and I shot one in portrait. And then I think I shot one from a little bit different angle. And I just like, I got my scans back, or actually I got my film back, and I scanned it. And when I converted it, I do an Epson scan as a negative, and then I convert it with Negative Lab Pro. And when I converted it, I was like, this is like one of those few times where like, this is exactly what I wanted. Yeah. Perfect for how it came out. And I was really, really happy with that one. And like very, very satisfying when you click that shutter and you're like, got it. That's exactly what I wanted. And
nailed it.
And that's that.
Well, that image is out of this world. Absolutely love that. And I love everything else on your page too. I guess one last question for you. I try to ask these too, like try to do the shot and then try to do favorite film stock. So tell me about favorite film that you have used or that you always love going back to.
That's a hard one, because like now that I'm shooting medium format, it definitely differs between shooting 5 and medium format. 35 millimeter, it's probably Tri-X. I shoot quite a bit of black and white, but I don't post a lot of it. Just unfortunately, with the way that Instagram works, people just don't like black and white. And if I had to shoot black and white or color, I would 100% shoot black and white all the time. It's probably for 35 millimeter. I really love shooting Tri-X. It's just like I take kind of a lot of inspiration from photojournalists, and it's like the photojournalist dream film. Like, it's so beautifully contrasty and looks so nice. Whether you overexpose it, I've pushed it and it looks really nice. And like, it's fantastic. For medium format, I've really been digging 400H recently. I've never shot 400H on 35 millimeter, and I was shooting a bunch of Portra 400, and I got like a 5-pack of 400H for like $30 on some deal. And the scans that I did of it, I've just been absolutely loving how it is. So that road trip I did, I think I shot like 4 rolls of 400H, but I shot all kinds of stuff for it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I know a lot of people love Portra 400, and I love Portra 400 too.
Yeah.
But I'm always trying to like experiment out. I've also really been liking Portra 800 on medium format. Okay. It's a little bit pricier, but just looks so beautiful.
I'm dying to try it. I haven't even tried it yet. But there's a few wedding photographers that swear by it. So I got to try it.
Have you shot Portra 160 much on film?
I love 160. I've only shot it on 35, and I'm dying to shoot it on 120. But my 35 shots, I took a few rolls out to Joshua Tree, and dude, like the desert, it was just so crispy. I was loving the greens, and it really brought out the rock colors good. I blew me away. And I was shooting it I did a Canon AE1, and I also had, what was that thing? It was a rangefinder. It was like a cheapo, I think it was a Minolta 7S. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Which a cool camera. I got rid of it, but I don't think I should have, because I loved those shots from it. I loved the colors from it. I really want to shoot it a lot more.
Yeah, I've shot like a little bit 35. When I bought the Pentax, the dude gave me, I like played that I'd never shot medium format before. And so he ended up giving me a bunch of rolls of something. And one of them he gave me was a 220 roll of 160. So you got
really?
So that's one of the rolls that's at the lab right now that I'm waiting to get the negatives back from. So I'm really excited to see, because I've shot probably like 5 or 6 rolls on 35. before. So I'm really excited to see how all that came out. But I honestly, whatever. I have so much film right now because when I find it for really cheap, I'll just go and buy it. Some dude was selling a bunch of 220 rolls of Fuji 800 NPZ, which is the precursor to 400H, and then NHG 802, which I have no clue what that became for Fuji, but he was selling for like $3 or $4 a roll. And especially for 220, like on 6x7, you get 20 exposures out of that. So I picked a bunch of that up. I shot slide film for my first time. I shot some Velvia on my road trip. Shot Lomo 800, which I've been really, really trying to shoot, but it's not easy to find currently.
No, it's not. I'm mad about that too, because that I've got several 110 cameras I've been dying to use, and all of they're like the only ones that make 110 film right now. I can't find any other.
Really?
Well,
Interesting.
It's the only one I've found. And then aside from ancient stuff, which I wouldn't mind getting, but I kind of want my first ones to be like more like newer stuff. But I'm dying to shoot those cameras. I've got 2 of them. I'm ready to go.
Like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've shot a few rolls of Cinestill 800 also. And I like the cinematographer love in me just loves how Cinestill comes out. But I think I have 1 roll and 120 that I need to shoot, but it's one of those, I'll probably take it out for night photography like everybody else does. And
well, I've got some of the Vision 3 like 50D and 250D that you got to remove the rim jet on, and I just developed my first roll of that, and it looked pretty awesome. And that's essentially what the Cinestill is with the halation layer. So I'm looking forward for that to be like a good film stock for me, but I got a lot more testing out to do.
Yeah, my boss at the winery has been a film shooter for a long time, and that's actually how we got to know each other. I've been drinking his wines for a couple of years now, and he posted about, I think he was shooting on his Nikon F3 or something like that on Instagram, and we got connected, and then he ended up offering me a job. But he's got a Fuji GW 692, I think it's the 6x9. They call them the Texas Leica, the giant rangefinders, but he got one of the panorama kits for it. I think he 3D printed them. And so he's been shooting panoramas of 35 mil on them. And I was asking about it, and I think for the X-Pan, it's 24 by 68 or something like that you get. And the ones he's shooting are 24 by 85. So he gets these massive panoramas. You've been doing it with a bunch of Ektar, and they look so cool. But
that's awesome.
He buys 100-foot rolls of black and white film and rolls all his own black and white, which is super cool. But his partner, when she first met me, was I know you're about to get Jim to buy a lot more film cameras and film and stuff like that. And I was like, what we love. We love wine, we love film, and that's
awesome. That's awesome. That's my goal. I actually want to start rolling my own 220, 120 and 220. So I found an article that lays out how to do it. And I'm trying to make sure I like the colors from these Kodak Vision 3, because you can buy Cinema IMAX film in giant rolls. And they're 1,000-foot roll. So then they're really expensive, but you can get the ends of it. So I've seen people 200 feet or 3 to 400 feet. It's still really expensive, but the cost per roll comes down to I don't even know, $5. But you're shooting on
Cinestill.
You're shooting on Cinestill, but I mean, you're not going to have the halation from the Cinestill, but it's still got those colors. And I'm trying to see if I like the film, and if I want to go so far to do that. I've been saving every one of the film back for all my 120 rolls. And I've got probably 30 of those just ready to go.
It's funny because I literally was just looking this up because I had seen somebody Connor and I both follow the analog subreddit, and there's some incredible photographers on there. But a lot of people will post, like, instead of shooting Cinestill, they've been shooting the Vision 250 or the Vision 500. And like, I was looking to see if I could get medium format stuff, and like actually stumbled upon an article where they're talking about if you get it, like it's only in an IMAX format, and like they don't like it because Cinestill has 120 in that, like there has to be a film size for it. And so it's interesting that like you're doing that. And I literally was just reading about that.
Yeah.
Like,
so I actually have seen there's a Japanese guy on eBay that is rolling them pre-rolled. And I want to order a couple off of him because I ordered this 250D off of Etsy. Some guy's got a little Etsy shop that he's rolling his own. And you can buy that too. You can buy 35 millimeter rolls and put that in a loader. And I want to do that too if I like the film. But so far, I liked the color from the film. It was very cinematic, but I kind of ran around and I was like, I didn't want to test this, but I don't think I took the best shots with it. So
I'm sure they turned out great. Don't worry.
They were pretty good. But I need to get some portraits because I love taking portraits. So I really want to see some skin tones with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What are you shooting? I want to know.
I've got too many cameras as well. So my favorite right now is the Mamiya 645 Pro.
Word.
That thing's freaking ballin'. And then 15 frames for a 120. I wanted to go with that.
I want to sell my RB67 and because I'll probably keep this for the 6.7. And I don't need 2.7 cameras. So I want to get the 645 Pro.
The 645 Pro is a gem. It's still like newer, you know? So, like it's not so far. You can go so far to get the AF version. But this one's like, you know, like 95 or something like that. And so it's not too old that it's like falling apart or something like that. What's cool about it is it's freaking sharp. And it has so many like dope accessories for it. One of the things I want to pick it up is a focus magnifier. You could flip down, zoom in on it. I really want to get one of those. But dude, it has like so many accessories. Like you can go full handle with it. Like I've got, you know, giant handle on it. Or you could take that off and go like covert, you know, portraits. Cause I love taking portraits. So I really want to see some skin tones with it. Yeah, man. Yeah. I've got too many cameras as well. So my favorite right now is the Mamiya 645 Pro. That thing's freaking ballin'. And then 15 frames
for the
sale on it. Or you could take that off and go like covert.
Until I got one, and I have the Optech straps for both of my 6.7 cameras, and they're a blessing. But like, even this is a huge camera. This thing only weighs half of what the RB67 weighs. Like, it's just absolutely insane how big those cameras are.
Yeah. 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 Well, I just, so like the Mamiya 645 Pro is my favorite camera so far, but then I just picked up a Canon 1V, which is like Canon's last 35 millimeter hurrah.
The cheaper counterpart because
basically a 1D.
F4s and F5s and F6s were the big ones that competed with that. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I just picked that up because I'm shooting weddings, and I was like, maybe I can get into the wedding film photography world and shoot like my portraits on the Mamiya, get into the wedding film photography world and shoot like my portraits on the Mamiya, and then shoot kind of like the in-between with some autofocus and kind of like get that vibe, but still have the film vibe. So I picked that up. I just shot my first roll through it. I haven't developed it yet, but I've got too many cameras. I've got a Bronica SQ 6x6, which I love that thing. And then a few other 35 point shoots. And I've got this 110 cameras burning a hole in my pocket. I'm like absolutely dying to shoot those 110s.
Complete film nerd. I could literally talk with people for hours, and a lot of times people.
I don't know. I feel like I could talk to you forever about all this stuff.
They're probably thinking in their head like, "Hey, yeah, shut up." Like, I asked one question, you're going off on like all these tangents of different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like people will reach out and ask a question and then like vibe, but still have the film vibe. So I picked that up. I just shot my first roll through it. I haven't developed it yet, but I've got a film vibe. Guys, thank you so much for watching that interview with Taylor. I feel like I could have talked to him for hours about film cameras and all things film. I feel that way about all of these interviews where I'm just like nerding out. Because you've heard all these interviews before, you probably already heard a lot about myself already. So I try to rein it back on talking about me, but you know, we're talking about gear, we're talking back and forth, and I absolutely love doing it. So if I nerd out too much, you know, it's film friends, you know, we're nerding out here. So anyways, Taylor, it was awesome having you on the show. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing A Box of Grain with me and the community. And I think it's an awesome resource for people out there. If you like this show, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so that you get this video every Friday of a new film photographer we're talking to, or even a curated pages. I really want to bring in those curated pages. Also, if you liked it, go find me on Instagram at Film Friend Fridays, or my personal Instagram of all my film work at One Will Cobb. And we will see you in the next Film Friend Fridays video. Stay tuned.